course, he's the first Hispanic winner of the Penn Faulkner Award. Benjamin, welcome to the club. Thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I want to talk a lot about this. I want to talk a lot about you. I want to talk a lot about the book. Let's start with the book, though, because it's a book club. Aristotle and Dante begins with the inscription to all the boys who've had to learn to play by different rules. Now, this can be applied to Aristotle and Dante's characters in different ways. Why start with this? Why use this as your inscription? What did you mean by it?
Well, because it's obviously for me to gay boys, and for me especially for gay Latino boys, which is why I started to write for young adult audience. I wanted Latino boys to read. It turned out it didn't work out that way because it's young women who read more than anybody else. And I'm grateful for their audience, but really, I really wanted to recognize them and to support them. You know, I think that gay young men and women and trans people need a lot of support. They really do, and we think that it's easier today to come out than it was in my day. Of course it is, but that doesn't mean that at that moment that a young woman and a young man discover that they're different sexually, their orientations, or that perhaps that they think that they're another gender, how painful and how alone they must feel at that time. And I wanted to write a book that supported them and to tell them and to let them know that they're loved.
It's uniquely poignant in your particular case because you came out at the age of 54.
I did. And I've had a complicated life. And I had a hard time coming to terms with my sexuality. And I finally did, and I had a lot of help from a therapist, and that was largely due to my sexual abuse, and being with a man wasn't particularly appealing to me, but I had to work through a lot of issues, but I wasn't alone. I got a lot of support, and I got people who loved me, kept loving me, and that was really important. And so I wanted to include in the book loving parents, because there are loving parents who are very supportive of their sons that are gay and their daughters that are lesbians and their transgender kids. Parents struggle to love, and I wanted to write about that in this book because I think that's terribly important. And particularly I wanted to say that Latino families do not dismiss their kids just because they're gay, and I think that's somewhere out there in the universe that's true, and it simply isn't.
Do you think it would be useful? It's not the audience for your book, but would it be useful for parents of gay and lesbian and trans kids to read this, because you sort of honor them, right? You're making the point that they can love and they can help their kids, even if the initial instinct when they find out that their kids are not what they thought they were going to be can be negative.
I think that one of the things that's important is that we realize that our sons and daughters are our sons and daughters. They're kids. We're the adults. And that if you know that if I tell you I'm gay, what exactly do you know about me? Nothing. And if you tell me I'm a heterosexual, what do I know about you? Nothing. And we make it everything, and it's not everything. I don't. When I write, Aristotle and Dante are pretty normal, sweet kids in many ways. They are. They're not atypical of that age group. I don't perform my sexuality on the page, and I don't perform my ethnicity on the page. They're people.
So there's a lot of what we call intersectionality in this book, right? There's the idea that these boys are gay. There's also the Mexican heritage throughout the book. Here's one conversation between Ari and his mom. It reads in part, "Maybe I'll just mow lawns. That's imaginative. Too Mexican for you, Mom? No, just too unreliable. Flipping burgers? That's reliable. Not very imaginative, but reliable. Come to think of it, it's the perfect job for me. I'm reliable and imaginative." She shook her head. "Are you going to spend your life beating up on yourself? You're right. Maybe I'll take the summer off. You're in high school, Ari. You're not looking for a profession. You're just looking for a way to earn some money. You're in transition. In transition, what kind of Mexican mother are you? I am an educated woman. That doesn't un-Mexicanize me, Ari." She sounded a little angry. I loved her anger. I wished I had more of it. Her anger was different than mine or my father's. Her anger didn't paralyze her. I mean, Benjamin, if I could just quote one line from that instead of reading that whole quote, I would have read that last line. Her anger didn't paralyze her. I want to post that on my computer and carry that around with me.
Well, I think that my mother taught me that, and my anger hasn't paralyzed me. I'm not an angry man. I write to give young people hope, because I think the world conspires to take their hope away. And I also understand that as a writer, I'm also an educator, and these are my children. I may be a gay man, but these young people of the world are my children, and I think we should all think that way. They are our children. We are responsible to educate them, to love them, and to take care of them, and that's our job. You know, James Baldwin once famously said, the children of the Third Reich, when they were educated to the purposes of the Third Reich, became barbarians. We are educating our children to something, and that is to be civil, and to be kind, and to realize that they belong to one another. We all belong to one another.
I want to read one last quote. I've only got a minute left in the show, but a major theme in the book is the companionship between these two boys, friendship and then love. One passage reads, I wanted to tell them that Dante was the first human being, aside from my mother, who had ever made me want to talk about the things that scared me. I wanted to tell them so many things, and yet I didn't have the words, so I just stupidly repeated myself. Dante's my friend. Give me 30 seconds on what you meant by that.
I think that we don't know how special friends are. That we, in fact, whether sexually or not, that all of the friends we have, we fall in love with, and they're important. And so friend is a holy word. It really is. To say, Dante's my friend. To call someone friend, to be a friend, is to hold an office, and that's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. And we like to say that friends are like family. Friends are family. They really are. Who could live in this world without them?
Benjamin, first of all, that was amazing that you did that in 30 seconds, because you're such a prolific writer. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this book. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for your courage. Benjamin Alire Saenz is the author of Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. It is a wonderful book. In the next few moments, NBC News, in partnership with
Thank you so much. That was really special. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll send you the link and everything.